Hello, and welcome to another Silver Patch Notes rundown. Today we're going over the patch 9.16 notes. This is later than I meant to do it, so I'll probably make it quick. I did review these earlier in the day, but I didn't really get a chance to look into them too in depth. But as we go, here we go. Anyway, Pantheon rework. Not gonna discuss that. New skins. Okay, yeah. Azir. Q cooldown increased late. Um, okay, going basically 5 to 7 seconds is really the big difference. With cooldown reduction, I don't know how much he gets in his build. I know Nashor's Tooth is big on him, so that's 20%. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets 40%. So it ends up being going from 3 seconds to 5.6. So, no, that can't be right. 4.2. There we go. Okay, so it ends up being about a second difference. Honestly, I don't see that being too much of a problem. We'll see how it pans out, but I think this one might be a placebo buff starting off with that term stolen from LS. Okay, next, Corki. Okay, so they're nerfing his base stats, so his AD and then AD growth are going down. That'll be interesting to see. I know his autos are mostly magic damage. I think it's 75%. So that'll be interesting. Plus, I know he builds Triforce and I think IE, so I don't know if that's going to be too much of a difference, except probably early game before he gets items. Mundo. Yeah, now I remember. He gets extra tenacity, and then his E actually has a scaling cooldown. This is probably the bigger of them. It means he's going to be a lot harder to gank. And then E, I don't know what you max on Mundo, but E max means, or not necessarily E max, but this does mean that he'll be able to chunk people faster, may be able to take towers faster. I don't know if E procs on towers. But good changes overall. As a jungle main, I don't like this simply because I don't like hard to gank people, but it's a solid change. I haven't seen Mundo much. Echo. Oh yeah, 10 more damage on his E for the base damage, and then R. This is the big one, right? With 40% CDR, that drops down to 30 seconds. With 45%, it's 27.5 seconds. That means he's able to ult once, like, not even necessarily once per team fight, almost twice per team fight, depending on how late the game is. You remember, your respawn timers at level 18, I believe, are 70 seconds, which means if he saves himself 30 seconds, if he ults, it's a 30-second cooldown. That's massive. I mean, it was already 70, would drop down to, that one's 56. No. Yes? 42. It's the same math as up above. Man. Anyway. That's a big change. I've got a friend who says that's going to break Echo. I expect to see a lot more of him. I don't like it because I do play Skarner a lot, and so I don't like it when I get a pick and someone's able to just get out of it immediately anyway. Okay, Ezreal. AP ratio on Q down, and then E up. Oh, thank God. Okay. So, this I don't see as much of an issue, because I don't see much AP built on Ezreal anymore. Maybe a single AP item, like Ludens, occasionally. This one's the big one, right? 25-second cooldown on rank 1E. It's you max Q first, so you don't start seeing this go down to closer to what it was before until, let's see, level 7. Is that, no, it'll be level 8 when you have to put a second point into something other than Q. So yeah, that makes me happy. Ezreal's always a hard lane to gank, and I always have teams who can't deal with the inability for the jungler to gank as easily. Fiora. E blade work. Cooldown goes down early, and it scales better. This is actually just an overall buff, both to late and early, right? Early, it's lower cooldown. I'm pretty sure E is maxed second, so level 13, I think, is when she'll hit the 90%. But yeah, late game, she gets more of a benefit out of it, even at the same cooldown. I don't like this simply because Fiora is always hard to fight, partially because of her passive, and then her ult, which gives her 4 passive procs. I haven't seen her as much, though, so I think this is probably a good change that's needed. I just don't like it. Jack's Q cooldown decreased. Oh, yeah. So, 10 to 8 early. This is actually really solid for jungle Jax as well, because you can Q to the camp and probably have it up at least once, probably twice, before the camp dies, at least with buffs. And this is talking early game, before items. I personally like that because, again, Q is your engage tool for ganks, so that actually helps you not only gank but also stick to people in the middle of that, especially if they try to flash out or if they have their own mobility ability. Mobility spell? I don't know. Anyway, Kassadin. W damage goes up by 30 at all ranks. I don't see Kassadin much at all, to be honest. He's too much of a late game champion, and games don't go to late game. In Silver, they do a lot more than they should, but I think in general they just don't. And so Kassadin hasn't been seen as much. This is just an overall buff that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I expect to see a little bit more from him, especially since that extra 30, I've seen a lot of people use W as a reset to help last hit, especially under tower. So that'll help him, especially with securing farm. Q AP ratio increased. That's going to be more of a late game buff, definitely not an early game buff, because you need AP in order to take advantage of that. I don't know how much she gets by the end of the game, but assuming 500 AP, that's going to be an extra 50 damage on it. That's pretty significant, especially against a squishy. But overall, I don't think that's going to be that much of a difference. I think it's going to be kind of a placebo buff. But we'll see. Lux, W shield, increased late. Oh yeah, so her shield goes up by, well, so the scaling, sorry, goes up by 10 per level, which means max, because it goes out and returns for the same amount, goes up by 20 per level. I don't like this because Lux is still really dominant, especially as a support in Silver and Gold. So I expect to see even more of her. I don't know if it's going to change her playstyle at all, though. You know, going basically full damage, you've got a second AP carry. But overall, I think it's not... We'll see, actually. W, I think, is maxed last, so it's actually probably not going to affect lane at all. It's going to affect late game team fights more than anything else. And the extra 80 ends up being about, what, half an auto. It could make a difference. It could be yet another placebo. I'm leaning more towards the former of the two, but we'll just have to see. Nocturne. Oh man, I haven't seen this guy in a while. Okay. Armor up by 2. That's going to help his clear a little bit. Base health. Okay, so this just looks like they're rounding out the numbers. Mana regen, that's the bigger of them. I mean, I guess it's only a quarter per... Is that per second? I think so. Or is that per 5? That's probably per 5. Yeah, mana per 5. To be honest, that's actually not going to be too much of a difference. These right here are placebo buffs, right? It's less than 2 extra mana, less than 3 extra health. The 2 armor is going to be the biggest difference out of all of them, but even then, it's not going to majorly affect his ability to clear safely. Nocturne is kind of mana hungry, so a bigger buff than this is going to be needed to help mitigate that. W Shroud of Darkness plus 10%. That's bonus, and if I recall correctly, that gets doubled if he blocks something with the spell shield. So, that is something to keep in mind, that it's actually plus 20% at each rank if he blocks an ability. So that 30 becomes 60. And given that I think W is what you max last, it's been too long since I've played him, that's a pretty significant buff overall. It gives him something that he wouldn't have until level 15 at level 3. So, Riven, Q cooldown flattened. Oh yeah, so reverting this, it's not. By the time that she's... actually, Q max first, so that's going to be level 8? Level 9? Goodness. Yeah, level 9 that's going to be maxed out. If you're following the standard pattern of, Q... I think it's Q, E, W. And then Q, Q, R, Q, W, or E. I don't play Riven, unfortunately. And then Q. Following that kind of pattern where you max one thing first, put a point into your R, get 4 points in Q, put something in something else. You guys know how it goes. So I don't think that's going to be too bad. She'll be level 9 by the time that really hits the most, and by then she should have at least 10%, maybe 20% CDR. So it's going to be a couple seconds difference no matter what. But overall, the good Rivens that I've seen won't be affected by it. Sejuani. Oh yeah, passive resistances went down early but up late because the scaling did get buffed, but the flat resistance went down. This is going to harm her clear. Sejuani has historically had a very healthy clear, because she can tank the beginning of the camp's damage, and then she gets her stun as soon as her extra tankiness ends, breaks the stun with an auto, and then stuns it again, basically. So that's going to harm her early game the most, I think. Late game, she's just going to be more resilient against poke comps. This, though, is the bigger issue, because you max W first, and then what you max second is somewhat dependent. I don't know if it's actually... Let me check, actually. Champion Sejuani. I'm pretty sure that it's E max second, but this might push people towards... Yeah, it is E max second. So yeah, that's going to push people towards Q max second. Even though at the very end it's still a second difference. But the extra 3 seconds is actually pretty significant. And so I would not be surprised to see this change what order you max abilities. That's going to be... Again, her early game is weakened significantly. Her late game is... It's either weakened or buffed a little bit simply because of the passive change. Anyway, Shen. Twilight Assault... Oh yeah. So that's on each auto. So it's 12 to 18% going to 15 to 21% of their max HP. That is as magic damage, I believe, which means it can be mitigated. And that's only if his Q passes through an enemy champion. So again, something that you can avoid entirely. But overall, I think it's a good buff for him, because one, it helps with his trading, and then his pushing's going to be basically the same, because if it doesn't hit anything, if he's using it to help push a wave, minions aren't going to be affected by that as much. E Shadow Dash, the base damage goes up by 10. I don't see this being that big of a deal. His E would probably need more of a buff in that, a longer taunt or longer range. Longer taunt, longer range, or faster travel time. Those three, one of those would be a more significant buff. That one I think I'm going to just slap the placebo label on and say it's okay, but I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker compared to this. This is really what's going to help him. Singed. Okay, mana goes up by 40, basically. AD gets rounded up. Mana regen gets rounded down. And then attack speed growth. I'd say these two are the most significant. Mana regen gets nerfed so slightly that it's not going to matter with the bigger pool. I don't know his ability costs, so I don't know if this means an extra ability. But this, I think, doesn't seem as significant, but I feel like after 18 levels, that extra 0.09 is going to end up being an extra 1.5%, I think. Something like that. Yeah, that's pretty close. An extra 1.5%. So he basically gets an extra level of attack speed growth. Overall, he's not an attack speed based champion. No big deal. This, though, it's kind of significant because he gets a buff to, I think, almost every stat. Or every base stat, I should say. He doesn't get extra 90% crit chance. That would be insane. But going to the fact that he gets an extra 10, 80, AP, armor, MR, I'll have to check what else he gets, but I'd say the extra 10s, it's going to give him a bit of an extra push, and I think junglers are going to, especially in low elo, are going to have to learn how to face against someone attempting to proxy. Now, granted, people are going to have to learn how to proxy Unsinged first, but it's still, I think we're going to see a return to him, and the proxy pattern is basically a staple of his. Okay, Scion. Mana goes up by 4.5, health goes up by less than 3, and mana regen goes from boob to 8. Boob with an extra O. But I don't see these being a big deal. I see this as also not a big deal. Q, though, base minimum damage goes up by 10, and then base maximum, because it's not triple it. Okay, so it charges up to a maximum amount. Goes up by 10 to 30. Okay. Actually, Decimating Smash no longer deals 80% damage against monsters. This might make Jungle Scion viable in some matchups. I know his W passive, the stacking health passive, is actually really nice with Scion Jungle, especially when combined with Cinderhulk. So, this change overall, I would not be surprised to see a few Scion Jungles. I think it will be played a little bit more in general because of these changes. I think this change is what's going to allow Scion Jungle to possibly return. Overall, though, good change. I don't know if that's really what he'll need to push back into the meta. Overall, he'll have more chances to brawl with his opponents in the top lane. Oh, removing a mechanic that no longer seems needed. They saw so little Scion Jungle, they decided screw that. So maybe I'm wrong about this returning him to the jungle, but I think this will return him into being more played in lane. Sivir. When coupled with Yuumi, she's especially strong. The cat is... yeah. So this, I think, is a good change. Her wave clear is going down early. So she can't just shove lanes and keep people under tower with Yumi's poke nearly as easily. I think it's a good change. I'll have to go back over the Yumi changes because I can't remember what those were, but I think, yeah, just good change. I hate the Sivir Yumi combo in general. It's a late game that you have to watch out for more, but this is going to help keep her from snowballing starting early. Sylas, Q, change lash. Okay, so they're nerfing Sylas jungle. Thank God. This is a cancerous matchup, especially against someone who knows how to play Sylas. So his clear is going down because that's an AoE ability. So not just on single target camps, but on camps like Raptors and Krugs. He's going to get slowed a lot, and then R just gets a bug fix. Okay. So, yeah, that's the main one. I'll be happy to see his clear speed go down. I don't know if that's going to push him out of jungle entirely. I think he's probably going to be played more in mid lane anyway, because he has been. But I think I'll have to... I don't think he'll be played in, especially in Silver and Gold Elo, nearly as much just off of this. Syndra. Her Q deals 25% bonus damage against champions rather than 15%. And then her E... Okay, E damage goes up by 15. Her E isn't really used for its base damage. Her E is used as setup for her extra damage. Yeah, if you WEQ, that's a significant chunk. Especially, yeah, if you stunned with the E, obviously. I don't know if there's any kind of multiplier with the base damage. I doubt it. So really the big thing is her Q is going to hit harder when she pokes you with it. That's something to keep in mind. I would expect to see a bit more Syndra, but I don't think she's going to return to the dominance she had several seasons ago. Tahm Kench. I haven't seen much Tahm Kench lately, not since his nerfs a patch ago or a couple patches ago. Movement speed goes down, which is nice because he's nearly impossible to kill. And then his shield duration. I think this might be a bit strong, actually. This might be a bit strong of a nerf. Simply making him slower and easier to catch and keep up with, along with the nerfs they made to his ability to damage people and keep them locked down, really means he's already safe bot lane buddies like Ezreal. Ezreal got nerfed. I think this is going to harm him more than they think, because in combination with the Ezreal nerf, now Tahm Kench has much less escapability. I think he's going to return back to the bench, unfortunately. They're benching the Kench with this one. Especially, this kills his top lane, this kills his top and bot lane, especially combined with champs like Ezreal. Yuumi, let's see how bad they killed Sivir Yuumi. Empowered damage, so that's only if it's traveled for at least, is it 2 seconds? I can't remember the exact, but after it's traveled a certain amount of time, damage goes up. They cut that by 10 per rank. Yeah. That's acceptable. Q max first, so you're going to start seeing that effect more. The slow... okay, so the slow is reduced early, so she's not going to be able to do as much, especially starting, levels 1 through 3. Really, it's not until she maxes it that you're going to see much see it close that gap. Slow duration evened out at 1.5. So... Wait. I just realized... Okay, is Yuumi one of those weird champs that she has 6 ranks in some of her abilities? That's actually something I never looked into. 1 second. Wait for that to load. But, okay, so cooldown early is higher, so she can't poke as hard. The slow is higher early, That's something to keep in mind. Like, the length of time is higher early, but it's a much lower slow, so that balances it out. Overall, I think that's a good nerf. The part with Silver Yumi that makes her so hard to play against is the fact that she can wave clear so easily and with so much health. They killed the wave clear a little bit earlier, and I'm glad that they didn't kill her ability to heal as much. Okay. So Yumi's I did not realize that Yumi's W only has one rank. Okay. Or does it? Oh, 5, 7. No, I don't know. Does she start out with a point in Q and E? I haven't played her yet. So, that's... Oh, she starts out with a point in Q. Okay. That makes sense, because, otherwise she only uses W and she's useless. Yeah, she's useless outside of being anchored, and she's useless if she's anchored with nothing else to do. So, okay, that explains a lot about at least her Q. Sorry about that, guys. Good nerf. Honestly, good nerf. She needs it. I think she'll still be strong. She'll be good into... I don't think into other poke lanes as much. I'll have to look up what other poke lanes are strong specifically. But I think she'll do good into... she'll still be decent into some of the more engaged-focused ones, because they didn't kill what helps her against those engages. So, she can still kind of poke them down. Ziggs. She's getting some... Ziggs is getting some buffs. I'm happy to see that. He needs it. W ratio goes up. I don't see his W used offensively very much hardly at all. I played against one that was really good, that he was good at using his satchel charge to set up kills. But overall, and then cooldown goes... I think this is the ability you max last. So this is a nice buff, especially since that improves his escapes. And then this is just a, like, for the good Ziggs, this is a nice buff. For the bad ones, or the average ones, this isn't going to make much of a difference. Our cooldown goes down to 70. I like that one. Early, you're not going to see any difference. Late, he's going to be ulting every team fight. He might even be able to initiate with an ult and then end a fight with an ult, depending on... or clean up a fight with an ult, depending on build and all of that, because that's going to go down to 42 with 40% CDR. Runes. Oh, they're actually changing runes. Let's see. Basically, biscuits give too much healing, so they're changing it to 3, and you get them earlier. Okay, they heal less. Manaless champions heal... I did not know about that bit, actually. I didn't look into it. I don't play enough Manaless champions. Or I never take it on Manaless champions, thinking about it. Mana per biscuit, and then the permanent mana... Okay, so the permanent max increase goes up, up per biscuit, so it's... yeah, you lose 10 max mana. That's not a bad nerf. They heal faster, but they heal less. I think it's good. I think that's good. Because they'll heal faster, so instead of 1% per second, it's going to go to 2% per second, or 2.4%. And same with mana. And it also affects the ones occasionally acquired through Kleptomancy. Yeah, honestly, good change. The champs that take Biscuit usually sustain way too hard just because they have those. ARAM balance changes. Swain takes more damage, or sorry, does less damage and takes more damage. Morg had buffs? Okay. Oh, she's getting buffs. She had nerfs. Okay, so she doesn't take extra damage anymore. Volibear doesn't take extra damage anymore, and Yorick doesn't take. I like this. Yorick's probably one of my favorite um, lane champions to play. Vel'Koz is another one. So seeing him get some ARAM buffs is nice. He does have that nice ARAM buff where every other minion that dies gives him a grave that he can use, so his E is almost constantly useful. That one might need to see a nerf, maybe make it go 4-3-2, but no, good ARM changes. And then honor rewards. Oh yeah, they're doing chromas for these two skins because the past 2 years you've gotten one skin or the other. If you hit 5, I don't care for either of them. I mean, I have Grey Warwick, so I use it if I ever play him. But and then because they promised 2 chromas, they give 2 Honor 5 tokens. So I mean, those tokens are gonna give us the chromas. Big deal. Ranked. That's not gonna. This is for silver and gold. Where you anything challenger grandmaster doesn't matter. Basically, you decay harder. Bug fixes. I'll let you guys go over those in detail. Skins. Thank God, Udyr has been over 4 years since his last skin. I think it was in March of 2015. And then, so he's needed a skin for a long time. So that means Skarner and Xerath are tied for first now, and that was in April of 2016. There are rumors that they'll get skins following up, so getting him out of the way means other champions that also need skins can get them coming soon. Hexagramus does look pretty good. I like the look of it. I'll have to see how many gemstones it is, because I did just get another gemstone recently, but yeah, overall, some solid, some placebos, some, oh gosh, clicking on Corki is not what I want to do. Anyway, some placebos, some good landing nerfs, some possibly breaking buffs, and then just some overall just decent balance changes. Again, this has been the Silver patch notes rundown. So feel free, leave a comment, like, subscribe if you enjoy it. I'll try to remember to put these out every patch that comes out. But yeah, leave a comment telling me what I missed, what I should have gone more in depth for, what you're curious on my, what you want to know my take is on a specific change or on a champion in general. Just really ask me anything about my thoughts. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong and try to debate me. Once again, this is completely objective. I'm right because I'm silver and I know everything. So don't even try. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the new patch, and I'll see you out there on the Rift.